So our main feature match, let's have a little scroll here, is going to be Mr. Aspiring Spike
Yeah, he has been
versus,
winning.
oh, yeah. Hey, versus one of my good friends, Philippa MTG. So this is going to be Winota versus Spike's new Surveil Jeskai combo, is what we're going to call it here. So this
I
is going
like
to be pretty
calling it
cool.
Jeskai Surveil or some sort of. There's got to be a surveillance pun in here because that card is so exciting. That card is giving me hopes and dreams that I like. I don't know. You look at that card and I'm just like, I too could be an aspiring Spike. You know what I mean? Just like dreams and okay. Well, I say that, but Philippa out of the gates here with turn one Arboreal Grazer. She is not looking to play games.
No, so she's playing a slightly different build to what we've seen a lot of the other Winota players bring so far to this tournament. Spike's fully aware of this matchup though, and has kept double counter spell in hand as well as an unholy heat. So I imagine he's probably played against at least one that we know of, but maybe multiple so far today, and really knows how much value he can put on this counter spell. So
There it is. That's the card that I'm looking for. Enhanced Surveillance. Obviously, can't play it on turn two because you got to hold up counterspell. There is the natural order in the other side of the table. There's also the Galta. There's also the Agent of Treachery. So wonder if we're gonna see like the. I guess we're not gonna see. Oh, we're countering the Boromir. So there's a chance you could go natural order, sack the token, untap, get mana like over a course of a couple turns. Play the Galta, play the Agent of Treachery, do a bunch of weird stuff, but for
only if Spike
now,
gets greedy though. If Spike gets greedy, he can. While he leaves at this counter spell and his discipline, which we saw him do a lot against Ben, I just don't think he's going to do it. But does
name one
Philippa?
time, one time Everett has gotten greedy, and well, there's nothing in it for you. But I wouldn't. Aspiring Spike is probably the best player of our time. They need to like move the Hall of Famers down one slot and just give him his own Hall of Spike. Like think about that. They could make a Marvel movie about him. Aspiring Spike, the maker of metagames. He's like the new Thanos. Like
The
someone's like, all right,
maker of May. That's cool.
yeah, right. Like that's the title right there.
The
Gosh.
This does leave a Winota off the top open for Philippa. She's going to be looking for that. Spike, I think, knows this and is going to be looking for an answer. Something like a Swords to Plowshare would be pretty good. Or being able to turn on this Unholy Heat. Well, hey, here's a sword plus like a gazillion cards that you can put in your graveyard. And we've got the red source if we need to. So this Unholy Heat will be up, which means we can kill the Winota before combat.
All right, nope, not me going to TCG Player and just buying a billion trillion. Sorry, not me going to Nerd Rage Gaming and Apex Gaming to buy a billion trillion top-bound phantasms because these cards are so sweet.
We remembered our sponsors there. I love it. Shout out to our sponsors, by the way, which of course
yeah.
we're only able to bring on these events that you see us put on, not only the Creator Clash, but other events because our sponsors believe in us, believe in the, how good these shows can be and the entertainment value of it. And the way that we need to show the support back to them is by obviously turning up to the events, using their products. And the more that they get supported, the more they can support us, which means the more we can put these awesome shows on for you. Like not only the Creator Clash now, but we have the Open next week. If you're liking the timeless format and you want to win yourself a bit of money, well, we've got a 1K next weekend on MTG Arena, ! 1K in chat to find out all the details for it. And that scales. The more players in it, the more money that goes on the line. Last time we got to over 90 players, which meant it went from a 1K to a 1.8K. So if you like competitive Magic and you want to, play it from the comfort of your own home, that is a cool event coming up for you. And again, the more support that has, the more support that we've got to put on more like it. So if you do like it, feel free to join. As we see this Grizzly Huntman come in here for Philippa, that we're all fully aware is going to go get a Winota, but Spike, of course, has a counter spell. Is the Fun Police. I just want to see Winota come down and resolve and cool things happen, but Spike's not having any of it. But then on the flip side, he is getting free looks at every surveil, so he's sculpting his hand perfectly.
I love this, by the way. It's options make the game interesting, and Spike has created a great deck here that maximizes options. Now, on the other hand, here, I am a little bit curious as to how what has to happen here for Philippa in order to sort of take down what Spike's got going on. Keep in mind, one piece of drama that I'm going to insert into this, right? Spike, 3-1. If he wins, he's locked. He made it into the top 4 with that beautiful 4-1 record. But with 16 players, there is always a chance that we can get the 1x2 in our top 4. And you'll notice that because Philippa is getting paired up here, she probably is one of the few, maybe the most likely to make it into the top 4 as a 3-2 with the win. So this is a functional win and in, and it would be great to see the upset.
Well, I don't know if it was plan B or plan A. I can't remember how we worked out about the beatdown plan, but she is at 1 life here. Going to play the big dino, but nothing in hand. Spike's just going to flex and say, doesn't matter. Still got ODs. And we're going to be going to a game number 2.
Alrighty, going into game number. Take a look at sideboards here, but I have to imagine. I think the way that this deck and metagame playing out, I kind of just think the deck is favored.
After seeing it play against these decks twice, as long as look, the key card in this matchup has been Counterspell every time. Like, you cannot keep up with the amount of creatures that are generated. One Winota resolves and we get an attack trigger, it's probably game. The problem with that is we've seen about 8 Winotas cast against Spike and 8 counterspells in response, or a swords or somewhere to stop it. So it hasn't been able to be a thing. If, but I say there's a big if because he looks at so many cards. He kept a hand with 2 counterspells. He knows what the key card is in this matchup because eventually he's just going to be able to grow his Dawley little 2/2 into a 20/20 and start turning it sideways. And then Philippa's got to be on chump blocking duty, which means the future Winotas are bad because there's no creature that's on the battlefield for them. So I think I'm inclined to say that you are right. And this is a horrible matchup for these Winota decks. Shout out to MTG Post Malone. Thank you very much for joining, dude. I hope you had a great tournament. They only played to bring Belcher to this tournament as well.
That is tight. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not maker of metagames. How about counter of Winotas? That seems like another great title to put under his belt. You know what I'm saying?
We kept another handler. It's got not only counter spell but also test the talents, which means it can stop things like the natural orders. Another big spell that's basically the 4 drops are the scary bit of this Winota deck. Winota itself, as well as natural order, and Spike has got both of them covered multiple times with the Swords of Plowshare.
Yeah. This hand, I feel, triple Voice of Resurgence is actually kind of cool, but this hand I feel is exactly what Spike is looking for. He just needs to surveil a couple times, get the Thoughtbound Phantasm to become the greatest defender you've ever seen. I mean, that is honestly like, I mean, when you think about it, this deck does just play the control, right? It's just, is it control with a combo finish? That combo finish is either Underworld Breach or a big freaking Phantasm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. This is wait a minute. We just tap out?
Yeah, but we don't really mind. I was gonna say, like, basically, it's like if you've got it this turn, you've got me, but gonna be rewarded. Doesn't have it. Gonna see double Voice of Resurgence come down. That's a great time to draw a Dragon Age Chandler while being able to basically make our creatures huge, but still leaves us open to Winota. If Philippa can rip a Winota right now, it could just be game.
Is there like a Cavern of Souls? Is there something I'm missing?
No, there should be a Cavern of Souls in this deck, I think, but there isn't.
What is going on here? Why are we so aggressively tapping out? We're just taking a couple of risks. I mean, maybe this is a calculated risk. I could also see that, but
All right, we're going to see the Boromir come down. Spike's going to be happy to live yet another turn. It's filled up the graveyard enough for a treasure cruise. Going to start off the game with that. Make sure we exile from the graveyard. Probably leaving a bauble, I imagine. Okay, we're going to leave the swords by the looks of it.
Okay. All right. I'm getting word from people who are better at board states. The Doomwake is saying that the problem with holding up the counter spell here is that the Voice of Resurgences are just too punishing, which makes sense. Yeah.
But surely it's like it is very punishing. I suppose, yeah. So yeah. Basically, if she doesn't play Winota, the counter spell is not worth it. But if you can counter exactly Winota, it would be worth it to not die on the spot. But Spike's decided it's just not worth it. If you've got it, you've got it. You've not played the last 2 turns. It's going to have to be on the top of your deck. I've now got a bauble, so he can decide what's on the top of his deck, Also, these creatures are growing and getting well out of control.
Okay.
Not playing the bauble here. Okay, trying to get in there with a little bit of lethal. I like it. We're going to see block, which takes 2 creatures off, which does make a future Winota worse.
This deck is so cool, man.
Once upon a time off the top, they can let us dig. We're going to do that
Also,
now.
Boromir is doing some overtime, right?
Yeah.
Stopping the bauble from being played, so we can't actually just loop through our deck.
Another carry is going to come down. That's basically called chump blocker at this point. No extra lands, no ways to cast this Agents of Treachery that's in hand. So we're going to have to rely on trying to get the big dino down for that to come and have any effect. How do I pronounce the name of this dino, by the way? Is it Gelta?
Are you talking about Galta?
Golta Stampede Triumph? Is that Tyrant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Golta.
Okay, here's Rainstorm. Wow, this is.
You can put the bauble back on top and then mill it. Triggers, trigger. Now got some 9/9s. There's another counter spell. There's another consider. Another surveil land. I'm pretty sure this bauble is going back on top no matter what. Probably digging for what? Removal spell here. If we can get hit a removal spell, we can start getting this bauble going online and potentially try and win with an Underworld Breach in the next turn or two.
If the heuristic for holding up counterspell is that Voice of Resurgence punishes you, I think we're kind of at the point now where we don't care, right? Like, even if you cast a counterspell that's what 2 6/6s, which is gonna sound dumb, but our Thoughtbound Phantasms are 11/11s, and like soon we're just not gonna care. So maybe
you gotta watch we don't die on the crack back here though, right? Like Philippa can just block with both voices, get 2 6/6s on the battlefield.
I'm just assuming that
does she no block? Oh no, she hasn't no blocks. Okay, cool. I was like, why are we doing this now? She hasn't no blocks yet. Okay.
I'm just saying that this would be like a draw go board state, right? Where you get to stop the Winota, which at this point I also just I don't know, man. I'm a believer.
So Boromir has extra text, can be sacrificed to give your creatures indestructible. And if we just block with 2 voices there, is Spike not dead on the crackback? There'd be, well, not now, but there would have been 2 6/6s plus a 3/3 plus a 1/1. Would there be no? There'd be 4 power, wouldn't they? That's not in the crackback. No. Land off the top, not ideal, not what we're after.
Yeah, well, swords is another great piece of insurance here. Yeah, just now we start just to exile these voices.
It's lethal, right? Is that not lethal?
Oh yeah. Probably. I don't know. At this point, it's
you go swords, Underworld Breach, swords, turn everything sideways, win the game.
I'm less
2 4/4s. That's right.
At this point, what's the legendary thing? I say he could pull out a ham sandwich, and he could just win with that, right?
The deck's looking good. It's looking really, really good. Yeah, I was getting confused about like 6/6s, 4/4s. Counter spell makes the 2, keeps the. Don't worry about it. It doesn't really matter, chat. Spike managed to take it through. Advanced 4-1, which means we will be seeing him in our top 4 because all 5 rounds are basically complete. We've got one more match, producer. Okay, cool. Right. Give us a minute while we set that one up and we can kind of keep talking about how good that deck looks by Aspiring Spike. But this is going to be a good chance for us to not only talk about our sponsors, but this future event that I mentioned a second ago, Anu. Obviously, every single time we're going to do a Creator Clash, the weekend after, we're going to give everybody watching a chance to play this timeless format. It is a 1K currently. The last one wasn't a 1K. The more people that play in it, the more it scales up. Exclamation mark 1K in the chat, and it will give you all the information. So if you are enjoying what you've seen 16 of your favorite content creators playing over this evening, you can also take their deck, find the meta, find what beats the meta, turn up to this, and get a bunch of money in your pocket. And while you're doing that, of course, supporting us, supporting these events, supporting all the content creators that are taking part in it. One of them has just joined. 2 of them have now joined. Mr. Benjamin Wheeler and Elliot Dragon. Thank you both for taking part in this and for throwing your raids at us. We hope you had a lot of fun here. Benjamin, That game was disgusting that you played against ePhilly. It was, if anyone missed it, you need to go back and watch it. It was naughty. It was a naughty game, but it was awesome to watch. And Elliot, of course, best player in Timeless. You've shown it none and unflown. Your deck tonight was really, really cool. The only control player, but that also means there's a good chance I might get to bed before midnight tonight. Now that there's no more control players.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. In the last open entry 1K, we actually had multiple copies of Jund in the top 8, which to me was just like a shocker. And then we even had like a couple fun activities like bounties in the event. One of our bounties, Mason Clark, made it into the top 8. He's been a huge proponent of prime time, in this format, and he put his money where his mouth is. So here's the thing, right? A lot of our creators from this week, they'll all be invited back to play again. So if you want your shot to also take a stab against them, see if you have what it takes to play against some of the best in the game, this is the event to play it out. Plus, I mean, as this might like the first event that we ran was what, 90 players. I'm gonna say that was probably the largest timeless event to date. So
Fact.
yeah, like I mean, this is where you go if you want to play more timeless, right? So this is, mark it in your calendars. Next week, March 17th, melee link. The code is 66099 if you want to find it. Producer, I'm just double checking. Do we have our backup match for round number 5 ready? All right, we've got game 2 coming in 30 seconds. I've already forgotten who's playing, so I'm not going to really read.
Reed Duke versus Jack.
Okay, Reed Duke versus Jack. That means I'm allowed to tell you that right now, Derek, aka Ginger, has won against Seth Manfield 2-0. And I believe that means, so Seth, I also believe is 4-0.
Let me have a little look. Let me see if I can get the standings up.
Yeah. Seth beat Arnie in the last round. So Seth is 4-1, locked for top 4. Derek is 4-1. Ginger is 4-1, locked for top 4. Spike is 4-1, and I believe locked for top 4. So now the last slot is going to come down to the wire here. We're going to see who's able to make it. This is, I think, one of the matches in contention. So let's go for it. Going into game 2, I believe.
Seth, Arnie, Spike, and Derek. Yeah, you're right. I don't think the winner of this is going to do anything. No, I think you're right. I think we've got our top 4 locked already, but we just want to show you these cool decks before we move into that top 4, where it is going to be 2 Sultai Show and Tell decks versus Spike's awesome Jeskai Surveil deck and Derek's Golgari Yawgmoth. So that is our top 4 here in Creator Clash number 2.
Oh, oof. That's a big Thoughtseize, by the way.
Natural, just such a powerhouse card. It's not done as much damage in Creator Clash 2 as it did in Creator Clash 1, where we saw just like basically every card was playing green, Deathfight Shamans, everyone's just testing all the crazy cards out. Now we've had it for the format for a few more moments, so to speak, a few more months, plus a couple more sets. We've seen this format evolve a little bit. Seen a couple of players coming out, attack it from a different angle. Other players just sticking to what they know, making their favorite deck even better. Remember, Jack is 1 game up here currently, I believe. What Jack is 1 game up here against Reed Duke, Hall of Famer. They're playing for a little bit of pride here. They want to be finishing this tournament with a positive record, and especially on Jack's side, if you can come out of this saying that you beat Reed Duke, that in itself is an achievement that I'll be putting on my Twitter. Like, my Twitter handle would be changing to 1-0 against Reed Duke or something.
Aspiring like Spike, defeater of Reed. Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Ashiok ripped off the top, but we don't have really anything else to do here, so I imagine that's going to come down.
I'm a fan of Ashiok here. I kind of think being able to turn off cards like Assemble the Team, Demonic Tutor, any fetch lands, for example, these are all good things that you want to be doing. And I guess there's the chance you mill, all copies of Show and Tell in the first activation, right? We're gonna just say it. Let's live the dream.
Hey, we've called a lot so far, and a lot has happened. It'd be pretty cool.
So talk to me in this matchup earlier. I mean, the whole day we've got this narrative that Show and Tell is the kind of deck that is so absurdly powerful that it picks apart everything in the format. Timeless is a ruined format. Show and Tell is going to take over everything. Is this narrative true, Will? Be honest with me.
This is the problem, right? Did players come here expecting to play against this deck? And if they did they think they brought the right cards to deal with it? Because if they have, so far the data is saying it's slightly wrong, right? We got what, 5 players playing it, 2 in the top 4. Potentially, 3 or 4 of them are going to have positive records by the time we finish now. Not having a counter spell for this natural order is pretty sweet, though. It's going to be an Atraxa time. Are we Atraxaing? I think we.
I mean, I'm down. That
Oh,
was a
I'm
pretty
down.
good draw.
I don't know what we could be trying to do here in response. Brainstorming response.
Or
Try and hit counterspell. Doesn't find. Does mean that we can untap into our own Atraxa, though. So, do we have a land drop as well? Like, if we could find a Fortsies or something off this Atraxa ETB. So, yeah, here comes Atraxa. Now, what do we see here? That's a lot of young wolves. That's all 4 young wolves.
Yes, and 4 young wolves going bottom. And yes, we are working on the UI right now. We're going to go ahead and swap out the decks real quick, just so that Reed is playing the Yawgmoth deck, and Jack is actually on the Sultai deck, show and tell deck.
Yeah.
But there's the Halfling. I see a Once Upon a Time somewhere down there, and then there's the Thoughtseize too. So we get to
Fortsies
do
now.
everything.
But the Fortsies not going to do much. There's a Veil of Summer on the other side of the battlefield.
Oh, my bad. I totally missed. Was that just drawn, or am I?
It was
crazy?
found off the Brainstorm.
Okay.
So, Jack's going to feel pretty happy about this. Stopping that, go a card deeper, meaning that fully tapped out, we can play this land, then play our show and tell, get our own Atraxa on the battlefield, which kind of negates the first Atraxa by Reed. They're just going to bounce off each other, which puts Reed more behind, I would say, than Jack. Jack can have options to find future show and tells and go off with another Atraxa moving forward. Remember, can't search the deck, though. That is key because there's this Ashiok on the battlefield. Not a lot of people get to see that too much these days. Did see a bit of play in various other formats. There is a Primeval Titan deck in Timeless, which you said, Mason's a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of that deck, and that really does kind of shut down that deck pretty easily and pretty quickly. So now what we're scared of on the other side, because show and tell is omnidirectional. Not only you get to fit something, but your opponent as well. We know there's a Crater Hoof. Jack knows there's a Crater Hoof. Crater Hoof, not great when it's coming into play on the opposite turn where everything doesn't get the triggers and the haste, though.
So 4 mana, you put in the Lighted Halfling, for example. If you don't want to put the Crater Hoof in, untap, you play, but say you still need 2 more extra mana. So, yeah, you probably just end up putting the Crater Hoof into play, but that doesn't seem particularly phenomenal, like, given the...
Reed's going to go a little bit longer here. Maybe we get to a point where these Atraxas bounce off each other, or maybe there's some sort of like a Yawgmoth on top of the deck, and we can kind of shrink something maybe, or we get to the point where we've just got enough little weenies and the ball's kind of stalled too much that this Crater Hoof can do some damage. But the big problem that we've seen numerous times now is an Atraxa finding another show and tell to put another Atraxa in, which means Reed's now got to not only deal with 1, but now has to deal with potentially 2 coming down. Let's find an Orcish Bowmaster. Not great in the face of Atraxa. It would be great in the face of Gristlebrand. And starting off with Once Upon a Time. I'm down for a bit of this. Don't know what I need to hit, but I'm down for it. Blood Eyes. Does that do anything? Probably not in the face of Atraxa. Second Orcish Bowmaster. Can play Beseiju and go twice, but also Reed's got to be thinking, if an Omniscience comes down, we can use this, but Beseiju is basically a 1-mana answer currently because there is a legendary creature on the battlefield, which means it gets reduced by 1. Reed does have the information that there is a Show and Tell and Atraxa on the other side of the battlefield. So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we attack, we trade Atraxas. And then next turn, Show and Tell comes down, another Atraxa happens. Or we wait till their turn, Jack's just going to attack with the Atraxa. We probably have to block it. and then we show and tell again, another Traxxas comes down, and we keep this loop going. So, not the best spot to be in here if your name is Reed Duke. That's not doable though. Multiple Orcish Bowmasters followed up with a Crater Hoof. Very easy to win the game. Reed's currently in the tank. How he wants to sequence this, what's best line. And you'll see this from a lot of like top level players, right? Like they will take the time allocated to them to go through their turn, work out what they need to play around, what they shouldn't be playing around. Reed decides play around Omniscience is worth it. As in like even if you've got it, Jack, I'm not going to win that game anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The land drop here is more important to me.
How do you feel about the effectiveness of this Ashiok Dream Render?
It's not doing much.
Right? Yeah, I feel like the same way. I guess here, isn't it like clearing the brainstorm, or did we draw through that already?
I think we've drawn through that already. The only thing it's doing currently is stopping this demonic tutor.
Oh yeah, because we had the Veil of Summer to draw a card, and then we drew. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the inevitable is going to happen where I think an Atraxa is going to hit an Atraxa. The way going about it this way means that there's a chance that Jack might be able to draw something to get the opposing Atraxa off the battlefield while keeping his Atraxa around. I'm having a look at his deck list, and he doesn't really. Could get a Sarah's Embassy, some crazy shenanigans, put it on the battlefield. But just going to go face, and Reed decides not to block. That's a hedge to, I know you've got show and tell, I know you got a backup Atraxa. It's worse for me if you cast another Atraxa, because then you're going to get multiple triggers. And you're going to go 10 more cards deeper in your deck.
Yeah, also the potential to draw into something like Soul Cauldron or Yawgmoth makes it so that your Atraxa will just eventually be better in combat.
Ooh, this Fortsies might change things up, though. This Fortsies could take that show and tell. But then oh no, because you can't cast Brainstorm in the face of this Orcish Bowmaster. There's a second one in hand as well. That could be pretty sweet if this does happen the way.
I was gonna say, like, you can cast like one Brainstorm if you're going to win the game for sure. But Jack is not only going to not win the game for sure, there's also a second Bowmaster, and that would represent what 3/3, so like 12 points, a 12-point damage shift, which is, well, quite frankly, that's a lot.
Oh, he's going for it. I'm sure I've just seen it moved out the hand. Is this going to get cast?
Oh my. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. This hurts. This is.
Children, avert your eyes.
No. Oh no.
Oh, wait a minute. No, you can also just kill the Atraxa with this, right?
So if we kill the Atraxa, we can. Hold on. Do we have lethal? We kill the Atraxa. The token gets made into what, like an 8/8, 8, 9, 10, 17 lethal? No way. This is just that. Oh my word. Hello, Reed, and everybody joining from Reed. We're currently watching you, Reed, cast a gazillion triggers on the stack against this Orcish Bowmaster. And I think winning this game and taking us to a game 3. Jeez. Yeah, no spoilers, anybody jumping in. No spoilers. Hope you enjoyed this event, Reed. We really, really appreciate you taking part in it, my friend. It's been an awesome experience casting over your games and seeing this that we're literally seeing right now, chat. Fortsies is the follow-up. Have a look at the hand. Realize that nothing here is going to do anything, really. Lethal on the battlefield. We're going to go into a game 3, Anu.
You just take the... What did we take? We took... Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's 17 power on the battlefield.
Demonic Tutor shut down. Lorien Reveal shut down. There's the concession. We've got that game 3. All right. Let's see who can finish here with a positive record. Yawgmoth, I would classify as the underdog to the Sultai show and tell deck, but Reed Duke has the magic to make it happen. But I mean, like also, I'm gonna give credit to Jack as well, right? Just playing this pretty well. This is gonna be pretty close. Who do you think is going to take game 3, Will?
Well, the data is telling me that it's potentially Yawgmoth. Derek beat Show and Tell 2-0 to get himself into the top 4. Misplaced Ginger.
Oh,
Now we've just seen. I feel like that. I'm not sure Reed loses that game if that brainstorm isn't cast. I think Jack's fully in control in that matchup if that brainstorm isn't cast, right?
I feel like both players have outs. You know, the game goes on for a little bit. But I do agree that it's not as one sided as it certainly looked.
No.
Right. So
I'm looking forward to going to this game 3 though. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're currently just getting seeing how the how players are sideboarding. Jack's just having a little look at the battlefield, seeing like, right, this is potentially how Reed sideboarded or not. We've seen Reed take out the natural order combo in a lot of games so far today. The fact that that was game 2 and it doesn't look like it was taken out means that okay, that we should be trying to play around this and move forward. We get to have a little look at Jack's sideboard, which is very different to all the other one show and tell lists that we've seen. If you have a look through, I think that's 4 natural. Not natural. What's the instant speed enchantment removal called? Nature's.
Are you talking about disenchant?
No, the green one.
Terrace Under.
No, try again. It's a split second.
Frozen Grip.
Thank you.
Ah,
we got there.
First try.
I can describe it, and you can guess it. That's how it works. If you're enjoying it, chat, remember there is a 1K you can take part in next week. We are inviting all of our 16 content creators who took part in the Creator Clash 2 to also battle it out amongst you next weekend. That is Sunday, March 17th. All the details you need is exclamation mark 1K, and news posting it in the stream there for you all as well. Now, back to the matchup. Jack on the play. Reed draws a second Thoughtseize, has double Once Upon a Time in hand, double Deathrite Shaman. How are we gonna? I guess we're starting with the Once Upon a Time. That's the easy bit.
I'm doing it, by the way. I'm throwing up the good old Gamba. So if you are channel points and you're trying to put a friendly wager down, I've put the prediction up. Who do you think is going to win? Type now in the chat. Post in the poll. Jack on Sultai Show and Tell or Reed Duke on Golgari Yawgmoth. The game starts off with a Deathrite Shaman from Reed, and that's probably exactly what you're looking for. The hand looks sweet.
I feel like there's some inside trading happening here. We just had a raid from Reed Duke. They all know how this game finishes.
Oh no, did I just mess up?
And you just I think when they can all start gambling and they someone's cashing in all their channel points on black tonight.
Nobody will get to 1 million points. Believe me, nobody. Ah.
It's all good. It's all good. Right. Deathrite Shaman, great start. That's going to give us the mana accelerant that we need. Access to both players' deck lists. We can have a little look, see what removal we need to be playing around. There's 4 copies of Fatal Push in the sideboard for Jack. So that's going to be in the back of Reed's mind moving forward. What's he happy to put on the battlefield and potentially lose? Not going to lose it in the face of a Breeding Pool, of course. Doesn't produce any black mana, but this fetch lands Polluted Delta is going to go find us a Watery Grave untapped. And then now we get any card from our deck. What are we going to go find? Anu, what would you get?
Hitotsugu second right.
Strong guess. Show and tell is basically what I heard. Follow-up Thoughtseize, though, for Reed is going to be able to see that. And I imagine that's the card we're going to take. That into Omniscience is extremely scary. Does have a backup Thoughtseize if he wants to take anything else. Because, again, there's a dig through time. Assemble the Legion. No, not Assemble Legion. What's it called? Assemble the
team. Assemble the team.
I always think of Avengers when I read that card.
Well, I mean, like if you look at the card art, you could basically see 2 of the characters standing there, like as if they were in the I guess Avengers. Technically, Avengers is coming to Magic the Gathering next year, right?
Yeah. Look, there's only one thing I want from that set is I want Colossus Hammer to be a Mjolnir. That's all I want. Okay. If you don't give me Thor's hammer as a Colossus hammer as an alternate art, I'm writing. I'm going. That's it. Like it's all I need.
It's probably already unlocked to happen. There's no way. Or maybe like what's the other one? Stormbreaker? I don't remember. But looks like we took the show and tell. I wonder. I mean, in this situation, I'm so tempted to just play the second Thoughtseize and take the Assemble the team. Leave Jack with double Omniscience.
Well, we've got to start advancing the board, right? We can't just sit back the whole way. So I kind of do like this and Reed as well. This not only advances our mana, but also puts a potential combo piece onto play. Next turn, we can go Once Upon a Time and Thoughtseize, plus whatever we find for Once Upon a Time, because we're going to have 5 mana. Also, we know how good Deathrite Shaman can be when there's things in the graveyard. We can do that sort of slow burn, that slow grind. Reed is very soft to the top of Jack's deck, though. Thoughtseize does not do anything to your opponent's library.
Yeah, and this is just the age-old problem with something like. Oh wow. Okay, wait a minute. I see this. I actually wait a minute. Okay, Reed, you are a freaking genius because I mean, tactically speaking, like yes, okay, cool. Your opponent plays assemble a team. Cool. They get show and tell. Okay, cool. I still have this Thoughtseize in my hand for that show and tell next turn because I know. Oh god, obviously, duh. This is why he's the best. He's just the best. 1 + 1 = 2. It makes so much sense, right? Like your opponent can't cast the show and tell this turn.
Not his first rodeo at all. You know
Yeah,
that.
he set
I
up the
know
trap
that.
there quite well.
And doesn't he, this is the question now. Like, do we do Once Upon a Time potentially hit a 2-drop to cast it? Is the drain more important? And it looks like the drain is more important here from Reed. Just going to get the beats in, going to get rid of both show and tells, get in for 1 point of damage here of the Young Wolf. That's going to drop Jack down to 9. Big rip off the top, Mystical Sanctuary, which isn't very good when all the show and tells have been exiled. I wonder if we're meant to hold one up there or not. Thank you very much, Jack, for jumping in. We appreciate it, dude. No spoilers to anybody jumping in. We're still watching the game. We don't need to know who wins yet. We're in game number 3. We hope that you enjoyed Jack and everything that he brought with it. We really enjoyed having him here.
Okay, well, there's Mystic Sanctuary.
This has got to go get a Semo team. Does this mean Reed's slightly punished for doing this early?
Yeah, I guess technically you could have done this in response to Mystic Sanctuary, and the slight modification would probably pick up the Demonic Tutor instead. But the point is that all roads lead to show and tell eventually, anyways. So I wonder. No, it's not the same thing because now we have a line that gets us to show and tell into our hand over the next turn or two, as opposed to.
I don't think we've got a turn or two, right? We've only literally 2 turns and we're dead just from the board.
Is this another trap? Did Reed do the math? Did he like sort of calculate, like assuming that they put Demonic Tutor on top, they draw the Demonic Tutor, they can't draw land as well, so that means that they're stuck for another turn. Wait a minute.
The more you're talking, the more it's making sense, my friend.
Yeah. Aha. Dude, I only wish I could just play at like a fraction of the power that these players play at. So nuts.
Orcish Bowmaster, Deathrite Shaman, Yawgmoth, Young Wolf plus. We can get the Yawgmoth down this turn, but that doesn't guarantee us lethal next turn. We could hold up Orcish Bowmaster and play the Young Wolf. Doesn't speed up the clock at all, I don't think. Could just add another Deathrite Shaman to the battlefield. So we've got 8. But at the current battlefield, if we don't add to it, Jack's dead in 2 turns.
Yeah.
So is Jack forced to go find with this tutor a fatal push? Might be. Didn't pit the Demonic Tutor on top with the Mystic Sanctuary. Realized that.
It's yeah. Big through time
Jack
end of turn. Jack played that pretty well too, realizing the Demonic Tutor was a trap. So, back and forth here. We got a game, a couple clutch draw steps that'll come through, but it's gonna have to be basically like this turn or not. I
don't like this is a timing thing, right? Like were we meant to use the Deathrite Shaman to turn off the dig through time when we could have? Because now we can't.
No. I don't think we ever had the option to, right? Because there were 2 show and tells that we removed, and if you do this now, then in response you could use the dig through time, pay the cost with Delve, functionally countering the Deathrite Shaman. Just another 6 sweet interaction, by the way.
Got you. So let's see.
We'll find out what 2 cards get added here by dig through time. I have to guess show and tell is not one of the cards there. Otherwise, that would have been put in with the swiftness to the hand.
Hey, Bobby, you are on the radar, my friend. You're on the radar. Appreciate the raid. Thank you very much, everybody coming in. Welcome to Creator Clash 2.
Is that a pun? High five. High five regardless.
I like Bobby. It's another UK streamer.
Oh, cool.
Shout outs. Anybody wants to get into timeless and other arena formats, go and follow Bobby.
Hello? Where did this show and tell
perfect?
What?
Is this enough though? Orcish Bowmaster drops to 7. Trigger drops to 3. Trigger. As long as there's enough sorceries in the oh no, omniscience. How does that change things? So this attracts
a lot.
This attracts has got to hit some crazy stuff now, right?
I mean, obviously it's gonna.
We haven't seen one miss yet. Let's put it that way. So now Atraxa comes down.
This is so cool. You could also just like play Board Upon a Wind with the Orcish Bowmaster trigger on the stack. You can flash in the Atraxa and then just instant speed combo. I love.
We're looking for a mastermind here.
That card is so cool.
Dig through time. Assemble. We could do all this at instant speed with Dig. That's like a gazillion looks at the top cards. I think Jack is going to take this game down.
Wow. And that to me is so incredible. Goes to speak to the power of show and tell. You know, I think Reed played this game brilliantly well. That trap that he set up with the Thoughtseize and versus the Assemble the team to me was fantastic, right? Like in my mind, I would have played my Thoughtseize, taken the Assemble the team, but Reed said, no, I know how the next turn is going to play out. So let's go ahead and develop my board state. And despite that, we have Approach the Second Sun ×2. And that's going to find the game-winning piece for Jack to advance to 3-2. And
the thing that I like on that is it doesn't matter if Reed had a response to that. Being able to give everything instant speed also stops it. So you basically won on double time that you know you've won. He's just going through the actions there. This deck is pretty good to do. It's pretty good.
I'm starting to feel like it is the case. I think we have standings ready now to show you also. Let's do an evaluation. We had 5 show and tell decks go into this deck. We see 1 in first place, Seth Manfield. 2, Arnie Hushenbeth, show and tell. 3, Misplaced Ginger, Golgari Yawgmoth. 4, Aspiring Spike, Jeskai Surveil. Those are our 4 top 4 competitors, each with a 4-1 record. Where are the other show and tell decks? Well, we have one at 3-2. That is Jack that we just saw. And the other 2 decks are both sneak and show variations. And so you can see that they got knocked out a little bit early. But the Sultai versions have all performed, all making it to a 3-2 or better record, which to me has my eyebrow raised. Obviously, this is just one tournament. You know, these things happen. This could be a complete, statistical anomaly. Who knows? But we should try and see next week as well what the results are going to be from the open entry 1K. I have a feeling that this deck is actually just really good. Will, I mean, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, this is one thing that we do, right? Like this is a tournament that we put on, that we run. So we're kind of in charge of what statistics and stats we want to put out. And because we're doing this for the players, because we're literally like who you watching. We play Magic. We love it. We're trying to find out what the best cards are, what are the most fetch lands that people are using. So we're trying to make it tailored to people to play more of this. We're very aware on Arena, you get a limited number of wild cards to have, right? To craft these decks. So you want to know where you're going to be putting those cards. We're getting that data, and after today, we'll be pushing out on the socials. This is the most played deck. This is the most played card in those decks. This is the most played fetch lands. Top 10 cards to give you that information. And we do the same after next week once we have a bigger open, which !1K in the chat will give you all the information for that. So moving forward, if we think that show and tell is the best deck, can we really make a meta to try and battle against that? Or did we just have more players turn up this week with show and tell, which inevitably meant there was going to be a higher chance that they were going to make it into the top 4 in the hands of arguably 2 of the best players in the tournament? You know what I mean? Seth literally won a Pro Tour 2 weeks ago, and he's here battling out and is still getting into our top 4. Not that we had any doubt that was going to happen. Let's be honest, it's Seth freaking Manfield, but it is going to be cool to see. But I guess we're going to step away for a short break, get everything set up. We're going to give you all some Wordle because we know you have, we've restricted that on you a little bit today. So we're going to give you some Wordle. We're going to set up the top 4. We'll come back. We'll be bringing you that in its glory, and we'll be crowning ourselves a champion. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly.